name is Jason Ortega. I represent Miss Jeannie Moody. She's the petitioner in both the motion to modify and motion to transfer. This is a default case. I don't know if the court has had an opportunity to review the clerk's file, but I was asked the court to take judicial notice. This is a modification from a Travis County case that was mediated in 2017, proved up in April of 2018, and ultimately signed by Judge Howell on February 12th of 2019. In that order, Mr. Town was awarded possession and access in various phases. The very first one being a step one phase wherein he had supervised visits until he completed certain requirements. And as a way of summarizing many years since effectively the mediated settlement agreement, Mr. Town has never progressed past the every Sunday supervised visits, which was not the intent of the parties, or the hope was that he would work up to a standard possession order. So for the last almost 9 years, Miss Moody has been stuck, inability to travel, inability to plan things unless he agrees, which oftentimes, in complete transparency, he does. The parties get along at certain times, and then Mr. Town suffers from some mental health issues that during certain periods he becomes very disagreeable, aggressive, etc. Now, in one of those times was in March of 2023, Mr. Town filed a modification. He wanted to progress. We initiated discovery. He was represented at that time. He failed to respond. In the summer of 2023, we agreed that Mr. Town could have some supervised out-of-state travel, which we found out that was kind of his ultimate goal, was that trip, which he accomplished. In February, when we were set for our motion to compel and for sanctions, his attorney withdrew, and then things start rocking and rolling again. No issues for several years. And in September of 2024, the parties begin discussing relocating. Miss Moody gathers his agreement first, discusses possibly Vermont, possibly Colorado, possibly Florida, all of which Mr. Town is agreeable to. Their relationship at that time is open. You'll see the text messages where it truly was an agreement. And so Miss Moody sells her orthodontist practice here in Austin and then puts her house on the market. And that was March of 2025. In May of 2025, they purchase an RV, they travel in March of 2025, they purchase a home in Cocoa Beach, Florida. However, it's being remodeled. So when the kids got out of school last year, they travel up to Vermont, some various other states, and ultimately settle in Florida, in Cocoa Beach, and move into that home in September. Since that time, all of Mr. Town's visits have been in Florida. The only time there was any visit was in November when they came back to sell the house, which Mr. Town actually helped and participated in getting the kids back to Florida. In any event, in December of 2025, Mr. Town purchases a property in Florida that he has been trying to get since August. And that's when the newest or most recent episode begins. In January, he's arrested in Volusia County, and that triggers a motion to revoke out of Llano County, which we didn't know about. In 2020, he was arrested for deadly conduct for pointing and firing a weapon at somebody, and he was on deferred adjudication from 2020 until it was ultimately revoked in March of 2026. And so his behaviors start escalating. January 12th, we get the DWAP notice. January 21st, Miss Moody files an injunction in Florida. They grant her a temporary injunction for stalking. February 9th, Mr. Town files an injunction in Florida against Miss Moody's her current husband. And that is denied just on its face. The application was completely denied. And then that same day, Miss Moody contacts us. We kind of re-engage in the litigation. We file updated enforcements, motions to modify, and we just want to get this case to the finish line. But it was ultimately dismissed at the DWAP docket. And so Miss Moody attempted to file in Florida, and Florida is of the opinion that Texas still has jurisdiction until they physically transfer it. So immediately after that, we filed both our petition to modify, asking for the original relief, at least to get them to Florida, and then also our motion to transfer on March 3rd. Mr. Town is properly served while he's in jail in Texas, in Llano County, on March 5th, 2026. And we wait the requisite time for the motion to transfer the controverting affidavit, none of which has been answered or filed. And so that brings us current to today, Your Honor. So the relief Miss Moody is asking for in the interim is the exclusive right to designate the primary residence in Brevard County. Not that anything really changed with the possession other than step one now becomes first and third weekends, Saturdays and Sundays instead of every Sunday, so she can have some sense of normalcy. And also, if the court will note, when this decree was drafted, Miss Moody received all of the exclusive rights under 153, 132. However, at that time, exclusive for passports was not part of that section. And so that's the only additional right. And we have text messages and testimonies. For instance, one of the children had a school trip planned overseas for March to travel abroad, and he was unable to do that because father would not. There's usually some type of quid pro quo if I'm going to sign this. And you'll see the text message indicating that he was in agreement. He just wanted to wait until he was settled in Florida. And so we're asking that that relief be granted today and the case be transferred to Brevard County.
Okay. All right, Mr. Ortega, you may call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would call Jeannie Moody.
All right, Ms. Moody, if you would please raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead, counsel.
Ms. Moody, will you please just state your full name and spell your last name for the court reporter, please?
Yes, my name is Jeannie Marie Moody, Moody.
And where do you currently reside?
In Cocoa Beach, Florida, Brevard County.
When did you purchase the property in Florida?
Purchased in March of 2025.
Okay. And when did you and the children leave Texas?
We left Texas in the end of May of 2025.
Where did you go first?
We went to Colorado actually, and we spent the summer in Colorado. We did make a trip to South Dakota in order for them to see their father because he didn't visit all summer. So we made plans to go visit his brother and cousins. And he did last minute come to South Dakota. So we did that trip and then went to Yellowstone and back to Colorado.
And when did you arrive in Florida?
The kids had a homeschool class that started in late September. So I believe we got here around September 15th.
Okay. And have you resided exclusively in Florida since that time?
Yes.
How many trips have you made back to Austin since September of 25?
Only one when our house closed. We still had possession, so we had an estate sale in November. We were there for 1 week.
And to your knowledge, does Mr. Town own any property in Austin or contiguous counties?
No.
And was this an agreed move between you and Mr. Town?
Yes. We started discussing moving in 2024 because, like you mentioned, I had to sell my 2 practices, which takes time, and then our home we put on the market in July, and it took until November to sell.
And what type of practice did you sell?
I had 2 orthodontic practices.
And those were here in Austin?
Yeah, one in Dripping Springs and one in South Austin that I'd had since 2011. So it was probably a year-long process to sell them.
And do you have any ownership interest in any practices or property in Texas anymore?
No. I own the commercial office space that my new owner rents, but no residential properties
Okay,
or businesses.
but your primary home was sold.
Yeah, yes, the primary home was sold.
And I'm going to show you what's been marked as petitioner's Exhibit 6. Do you recognize this exchange?
Yes.
And was this February 2nd of 2025?
Yes.
And
Yes, 2025.
okay. And during this time period, are you still undecided on where you plan to live?
Yeah, we were looking at cost of living and, what's best for the kids, etc.
And I see that the text message is addressed to Matt Town. Can you explain on the record who that is?
Yes, that's the children's father, my former partner.
And he is the other party to this case?
Yes, correct.
So this is, you were completely transparent with Mr. Town and you were in constant communication about the move.
Correct. And he was actually here. We found out later from neighbors, he was actually here the same week we arrived here in September. He was already here, which was surprising because we didn't know he would be here, but he was.
Offer petitioner's Exhibit 6.
It's submitted.
And in March, I'm sorry, do you recognize the text message? I'm showing you what has been marked as petitioner's Exhibit 6. Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, that's a message between me and the children's father.
And is this the first reference to Cocoa Beach?
Possibly. My practice sold March 1st, and we did buy this property in March of 2025. Sort of unexpected. It needed a lot of work, so we put in an offer. So probably
Is this text message from March 24th, 2025 or 2026?
25, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, 25 for sure.
At this time, are you and Mr. Town still discussing where you're going to live?
He knew we bought a property, but we were still looking at Vermont or Colorado, somewhere less hot in the summers, and then, maybe Florida in the winter. We were still exploring, and he knew that we were going to go do that. Sort of over the summer, we had planned to go to Vermont. But we had RV issues, so we didn't, but yes.
And did Mr. Town ever communicate to you that he plans to relocate and purchase houses as well?
Yes, once we were here in September, he started mentioning that he was going to auctions and that he was going to put in offers on a home and then also on a condo, which he later, my attorney here, found the deeds. He did purchase those. And that's where the children exercise their visits, is at one of the properties that he bought. which is, I don't know, less than 10 miles from where we're living.
Offer petitioner 7.
Admitted.
Now I'm showing you what's been marked as petitioner's exhibit 9. Do you recognize this exchange?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And what birthday is Mr. Town referencing?
He's referencing the twins' birthday, my daughter's on September 21st. Again, we had just arrived, I believe, a week before, and I already had family coming. However, we said yes, sure, and we let him come, and we went for ice cream with the kids, and we supervised a visit. So he did end up coming to Florida, or perhaps he was already here. We later found out from neighbors.
So without telling me what the neighbors said,
We later found out that he was already here the
Hold
week
on.
we arrived, even though he told us he was planning to come visit 2 weeks later, early October. However, the neighbors said he was here talking to
Hold on,
various neighbors. Um,
you can't say what the neighbor said.
oh, okay. Just that they saw him there.
Okay. But in September, it was agreed that he was coming to exercise visits in September at the very least.
Yeah, yeah. He was here for their birthday.
I'm sorry, I would offer petitioner's exhibit 9.
It's admitted.
Now I'm showing you a text message. I'm showing you what's been marked as petitioner's exhibit 10. Do you recognize this text message exchange?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the day before their birthday when he told me he was already here.
And does Mr. Town see the children in Florida at this time?
Yes, like I said, I think we went to the ice cream shop and met him for a few hours.
And during the same time period, does Mr. Town indicate that he's looking at places to purchase?
Yes, I believe October he started mentioning that and he was going to auctions and he was around a lot, like around randomly asking if he could come over or see the kids. Like he seemed to be here. It wasn't like a pre-planned thing. And he also I had asked the kids to donate some belongings, and he told the kids that they could keep the belongings and he would bring them. So in September, he showed up with all the belongings. Almost the same week we were here, he packed up his truck with lots of their larger toys and stuff. So I believe he drove here, but he was here in the area.
Okay. I would offer petitioner's exhibit 10.
10 is admitted.
Miss Moody, in October, I'm sorry, I'm showing you what's been marked as petitioner's exhibit 13. Do you recognize this text message exchange?
Yes, I do.
And
It's
what do
between
you,
me and father.
tell the court which child had a trip planned and to where?
Otis, our oldest, the 12-year-old, he had a trip planned to the Netherlands in spring of 2025 to visit my husband's parents, so his step grandparents. However, he's type 1 diabetic. We were a little bit concerned about his management. And at that time, Mr. Town agreed for him to go. He purchased his own ticket. Everything was good to go. However, my husband and myself at the last minute sort of made a decision that it would be better to wait a year, let him get a little bit older with his diabetes management where we would feel more comfortable. So all parties agreed that we would, hold the ticket. He paid for it himself, and then He was supposed to go this spring. He booked it, paid the change fees. But as you mentioned to the judge, Mr. Town would not allow the travel. The children's passports expire in June, I believe, and the travel was April, and I believe they needed more time on the passport. So he forfeited, he wasn't able to move it again, so he lost money and was not able to travel.
Okay. And in October, you asked him to sign the paperwork. Did you ask him to sign the paperwork for passports?
I did, and then I also made an appointment in Johnson City for when we came to finalize the house sale in November, and he did decline to go.
Okay. And in this text message exchange, do you know what Mr. Town means by let's figure out the passports when we were both in Florida?
It seemed that he was going to get a Florida driver's license, was what he said. I later came to find out that he didn't have a valid license in Texas, but he said he was going to get one in Florida. I told him that that wasn't necessary. He could just notarize a form. To my knowledge, you can just have the other parent notarize a form, but he declined to do that as well. So he indicated he was going to get a Florida driver's license and get settled in Florida, and we would then do the passports.
Okay. So Mr. Town led you to believe that he was relocating to Florida.
Correct.
I offer Petitioner's Exhibit 13.
13 is admitted.
And I'm showing you what's been marked as Petitioner's Exhibit 14. Is this when you learn that Mr. Town purchased property in Florida?
Yes.
And this is this November 11th, 2025?
Correct. But as you see, we were already set to go to Austin to finalize the estate sale for our Austin property.
Okay. But this is when Mr. Town notified you that he purchased property or was in the process
Yes.
of. Offer Petitioner's 14.
It's admitted.
And the last text message I'm going to show you has been marked as Petitioner's Exhibit 15. What date is this from?
Looks like from December 11th, and it's I believe it's his belongings, or he had told the kids he was going to demolish a trailer or something. So I'm not sure exactly what the picture is, but I do believe it's him packed up his belongings to go to Florida.
But does he indicate that he's ready to move to Florida?
Yes.
Offer Petitioner's 15.
Admitted.
And to your knowledge, has Mr. Town purchased property in Florida?
Yes, I believe that same week he demanded to bring the kids over. And so my husband and I brought the kids over to see a home that he said he had purchased, but it was being fumigated. So they just visited in the yard. I stayed in the car, but yes, he did indicate to my husband and the children that that was his new home. And
Okay.
he was gonna, he'd asked the children their input, and my husband drew up like a floor plan so that the kids could decide what they wanted with the home.
I'm showing you what's been marked as Petitioner's Exhibit 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
What is it?
It appears to be the deed for his property on Date Drive, which is the home we went to.
Okay. So you've seen that home.
We actually saw the home before he closed on it. He was pouring a concrete driveway, and again, he's got some mental health things, so we were a little bit surprised he was doing permanent changes to a home that hadn't closed yet. So I believe we were there around the 1st of December, early December, but it did close on the 15th.
And you obtained this certified copy from where?
I believe my attorney here who's handling our injunctions and the safety of everybody obtained them.
I'd offer petitioners Exhibit 1.
P1 is admitted.
And in your search, did you find any other properties?
Yes, I don't know when he purchased this. It looks like January 5th, but there was a condo that he stated he purchased for his parents or his mother particularly. She is the person that supervises visits. So she comes from Plano. And so he indicated that he purchased this condo, and that's where the children have never exercised a visit at the other home, but they've exercised their visits at this condo with his mother for probably the last, 3 or 4 months.
So to your knowledge, is this where Mr. Town is residing?
Yes,
I'm showing you what's been marked as Petitioner's Exhibit 2. Do you recognize this document?
yes,
And did you obtain this certified copy from the Brevard County Clerk?
yes. My attorney obtained both of those for another hearing we have here.
Offer Petitioner's Exhibit 2.
2 is admitted.
And in January, during this time period, is this where what type of issues did you start to experience?
Again, the behavior, as you know, every 2 years about, there is a very distinct change in behavior and personality and agreeability, and things become less cordial, but also aggressive in nature, irrational, grandiose thoughts that don't quite align with what I know as reality. And so when those episodes happen, I tell his mother we've got to go back to strict supervision. And so he would be at our property at, 6 o'clock in the morning. He left various items in front of our home early morning, talking to various neighbors, very aggressive. And then he would threaten the sheriffs, and then, he refused to leave, and they did a trespass warning. At another time, he refused to let my son out of a shop, and he left the supervision. My son was crying, was sick. He demanded the, ambulance come. We've had probably 8 incidents with the police here, which led to the stalking injunction that we have now, and that was recently expanded to include my husband. But this, like you mentioned, this was what the steps were designed for, I believe, was to help with this, but they've not been accomplished. And every few years we have the same sort of behavior, but this time it's been for a long time. Usually it's 6 months or less, and then we sort of have a more, I don't mean to use the word depressed, but a more, sleeping a lot, not in contact phase. And then he sort of comes up to polite, normal person. I don't know if that's the right word. And then these escalated manic phases. And that's what we're in now. And it's been quite a while. So we're trying to get some protections for myself and the kids here, because all the witnesses and all of the other things are going on here.
I'm showing you what's been marked as Petitioner's Exhibit 3. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, this is the injunction that we filed.
Okay. And has this document been changed or altered in any way?
No.
Offer Petitioner's 3.
P3 is admitted.
During your search for records for Mr. Town, did you learn that he had been arrested in Texas?
Yes. We were afraid of his behavior, still am in the state that he's in. but we found a strike and battery in Volusia County, Florida. And then we also found that he was on probation in Llano for the firearms charge. And it appeared that he was not supposed to be leaving Texas. But that, I guess, heightened our fear, um, especially given his behavior regarding our house here, my neighbors here, as well as the person that bought my property in Austin. That gentleman has also had some interactions as well. So we did find those.
I'm showing you what's been marked as Petitioner's Exhibit 16. Do you recognize this document?
Yes. It's the
And,
Llano County document.
and this is where you learn that he discharged a firearm at somebody.
Correct.
And to your knowledge, did they revoke his probation?
Yes, they I did request those records and they did revoke, well, they found him guilty and then they just gave him time served. So I guess the probation ended with the adjudication of it, is my understanding.
And so to your knowledge, that charge is now resolved. He's
Yes.
no longer, I'm sorry. Do you know if he's still on probation in Texas?
No, I believe when they adjudicated that it resolved it with the guilty verdict, I believe.
Okay, so he's no longer required from probation to remain in Texas.
No.
I'd offer Petitioner 16.
It's submitted.
Ms. Moody, are you asking the court to modify the current order to grant you the exclusive use to designate the primary residence of the children in Brevard County?
Yes.
Are you also asking the court to modify the step 1 visits from every weekend to first and third weekends?
Yes, sir.
Are you asking the court to grant you exclusive right to apply for, maintain, and hold the passports?
Yes.
Are you also asking the court to transfer this case to Brevard County so you can seek additional relief after today?
Yes, sir.
Judge, that is all I have.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Ortega. You can pull down the screen share. Okay. So I will grant the motion to modify as requested by the petitioner. And that means, Ms. Moody, you will have the right to designate the primary residence, the access and possession as Mr. Ortega requested on the record. And you will also be the parent with the right to apply for, maintain, and hold, possess the children's passports. After granting and entering an order on the modification, then this court will grant the motion to transfer the case to Brevard County, Florida.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sure. Mr. Ortega, did I cover all of the requested relief today? Anything else we need to address?
No, Your Honor, I just have a clarification question for the court regarding the order. The instructions indicated that we needed to upload a Word document. Would you like me to finalize that and sign it?
That's fine. I don't anticipate any. We ask for orders in Word because sometimes we think we're going to need to edit or revise them. I'm not
Okay.
anticipating that here. And you have it prepared as 2 separate orders, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, and they're
Okay.
both uploaded already. I just didn't know if I need to send them separately or if you want.
If you would just email them to Ms. Seeger, if you haven't already done so, that would be helpful.
I will PDF those, get Miss Moody's signature, and get those back to the court within the hour.
Great. That is much appreciated. All right, Miss Moody, thank you for appearing in court today. Sorry to meet you under these circumstances. I do wish the best for you and your family. And y'all are excused from the virtual courtroom.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you,
your
Your Honor.
time.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.